You look stressed.
Are you? I don't know.
Do you always?
Huh?
Do you always? Do you always?
You're talking about me.
Oh,
She said I haven't said.
I thought she said she was praying.
Well, she's probably doing that too.
Right now.
Please pray for me, because I could do that too.
Well, it's 3 o'clock on a June 23rd afternoon, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Allen County Board of Trustees. Can we have a roll call?
Certainly. Ben Eisbart,
Present?
Martin Seifert,
Here.
Sharon Tucker,
Present.
Paul Moss, Kent,
Present.
Jim Williams.
Present.
We have 6 out of 7.
6 present, 1 absent. Can I have a motion to approve the adoption of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay? Thank you. Let's move to the approval of the minutes. We'll group them, but there was a correction in the minutes of the regular session. So can I have a motion to approve, and then we can discuss?
Motion for approval?
Second, please.
Second.
On the minutes of the regular session of May 26, 2022, at least I think this is the case, under the second page, financial report, my name is there. I was not present. I think it's Sharon's name that should be there. And then underneath it, under the approval of claims, on a motion from Mr. Seifert, again, it should be Sharon's name, not Mr. Seifert, because he already voted.
That is correct.
Good catch.
Are there any other corrections or additions? If not, then all those in favor as corrected, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. And we're moving right along. Let's go to the financial report.
All
David,
right,
you're up.
Thank you, Ben. In your packet are the financial reports, and really only one line to report. That was recruiting expense, and that's with the new positions that were approved. This is one of those lines that it's spending above benchmark because it only has an $8,000 budget. So, that will just move some money in at the end of the year on that. The rest of the lines are doing fine. Main items to report on, just on the financial stuff, the audit continues going on. We are hopeful to have the CAFR submitted soon, but we are going to, as a contingency, put in for an extension, just to make sure that we've got enough time for GFOA. The auditors are still in their review session. We still have to set up the exit conference and then get the publishing to them, or get it published. So everything seems to be going well. There's no issues they've found. It's just going through their processes. The other big thing we're working on, obviously, we're starting the budget, and in your packet actually is a timeline for this year's budget. Nothing changed, as I mentioned in last month's meeting, nothing changed in the process, so we'll be going with an October passage of the budget. I did have one item that'll fill in, and I'll bring updated versions of this in subsequent meetings, but DLGF has set their budget workshop reviews. That's where I review everything with the field reps. That's been set for August 31st, so I'll be doing that then. Wanted to bring you up to date because, in my area there's the maintenance area and kind of an update on the storm, what happened with our facilities and things like that. And all in all, we did weather things, pardon the pun, fairly well compared to others. We did have 3 areas that were affected by that. The primary ones are Boyd, Waynedale, and Pontiac. And taking from the least to worst, Pontiac really just lost power, and they were down for a day or two until the power was restored. Waynedale was the next. They lost power also, and it was really debris cleanup. The only thing that was damaged were fences And those were easily, mended, pardon the pun again. And, but a lot of debris there, a lot of things. The worst was a Boyd, and that still is damaged. I have lots of pictures if you want to see these, but some pretty large trees fell on a Boyd. And so what happened there is a hole in the roof that is now covered. They're gonna be replacing, or repairing that. The worst item is 8 trusses were damaged on the roof. And so we had the structural engineer out yesterday and today, and they're writing up their report, and we'll get that over to get the repairs done on that. But until that time, it's over the meeting room. Consequently,
Is it
we can't, keep the meeting room in use, because you don't want to take the chance that something could shift on it with that many trusses broken on it. So Jake and his crew did a fantastic job of helping, and Darton also in the environmental service area to get things cleaned up and us back in operation. Jake is on top of the work going on there at a Boyd, and hopefully that will be taken care of shortly. The roof will be fixed shortly, but as far as the trusses, it'll depend on what the engineer's report says needs to be done.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
Dave, so I was there at a Boyd the day after the storm, and a Boyd has remained open this entire time,
Yeah.
with the exception that the meeting room has been closed off for safety reasons, but the library is still fully operational. And the day after, it was amazing how many people were there who did not have power yet at home, who were there getting cooled off in the air conditioning, charging their phones. So it was a really wonderful community service we were able to provide in a very difficult time.
Exactly, yeah. So,
Now, are those repairs large enough for any kind of insurance claim
yeah.
or anything?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
figured, I
where we've
assumed.
got the insurance.
Okay,
claims
they're
on it.
involved. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I had another question just on our branches. Do we have backup generators at the branches if the power went out?
No,
For any of them at all?
We
don't,
we
do
only have
Okay.
backup generators here
Here.
and at DeSalle
Okay.
for all the computer operations and everything, so.
And
Okay.
some
Yeah.
pumps.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, the sump pumps, exactly. The only other thing you've probably heard on some of the emails going on is happening at Woodburn. Woodburn branch we were notified on the 13th that there was a water leak between the main and the building. And so, we needed to get that repaired. Unfortunately, what's happened is, that was the night of the storm, and so all the utility locate groups have been tied up like crazy. We have been unable to get the utilities marked out there so that our contractor could start digging that up and replace the valve or whatever is broken. We did get those finally responded to yesterday, and the contractor is working on it now, and with any luck, it'll be completed by this afternoon, maybe opening up tomorrow. No? Kim?
The repair didn't work
Oh,
on Saturday. I shut the water down in the whole street. I just got a text about
oh,
it.
wow, just, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
we're
maybe
s-
tomorrow, but
yeah, well, at least they're able to dig on it now instead of having to wait on the utilities. That was kind of frustrating. So, in any case, that's the other item that's still, pending. We had, it just seems like vehicles deciding to want to hit our buildings or our facilities. We had, obviously, the issue outside of Children's, the building there, and the exhaust fan. Little Turtle had an accident that happened on the southwest corner. It took out a utility box in the ground. Luckily, it didn't do any damage to any electrical or fiber systems, but still is going to need to be replaced there. So hopefully July will be a little calmer, let's hope, and stuff. One capital item I wanted to bring, and I'm going to pass this picture around because it is pretty dramatic. We are starting converting the lights in the underground basement to LED lighting. And we had a test one put in, and it's amazing the difference in the light coming out there. And it'll be half of the cost on operation. It'll save us money on that. So that project is.
Do they have motion sensors so they're off until somebody goes by? Or-
No, no, they're lit or off.
I see.
Yeah, so, but that's the way they are right now. I mean, I guess we can see, okay.
Because ash garage.
Yeah,
Is that-
okay.
Saves when no one's there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, no, it was a nice thing to finally get going on that. The underground garage has been an item that we've had comments of, gosh, it's so dark in there, and they feel safer, it would be lighter, so we're getting that done, and that's starting, very soon. Hopefully, all the parts and the canisters will be there, there won't be any supply chain issue, but we keep our fingers crossed on it. But
Thank you.
anyway, I've talked enough at that point, but, that's all I had to report on today, but I'm glad to entertain any questions you might have.
Any questions of David? He's gonna take a show on the road pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I've sold one ticket, that was to Laura, my wife.
Okay,
Move
how
to
about a
accept the
motion?
finance report.
Thank you, and a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Let's move to the claims and approval
All right.
thereof.
I have the claims for today. The largest claim today is $56,924, and that's actually for Indiana Michigan Power Company, with the air conditioning now. So there's just a few others that are mainly library material, so I can pass this around for signature.
Please. Any questions? Okay, David, thank you.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add, and I had been talking with Helen about this, just a reminder that those first claims of the month, the ones that come in on the June that we fax out to you, if you could remind, any way to be able to get that back to us, because those are the ones that you see in the approval of minutes each time. Those have to be affirmed, but they just still have to have board signatures for us to send those out. So if, just as a reminder, if you could, get those, signed back to us, that'd be great.
Dave, have you thought about setting those out with DocuSign or some other service that lets us electronically sign?
I
I second that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
matter of fact, that's a good point. When
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do on that. And it's really making sure the state board will accept it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they're
And
always,
it's, I was never a big fan, but it's so ubiquitous now
it is
that,
now, it
that if we
is.
can do it, we might as well be able to do it.
Right.
So.
Right. I
Okay.
think we need a motion to pass.
Yeah, motion for approval of the
And a
claims.
second, please. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, thank you. Okay, Susan?
Yes, we have 2 introductions of new staff today. And first, Lorraine, would you like to come up and introduce our new member of the HR team?
Good afternoon. I wanted to introduce everyone to Damon Thompson. He's our new HR generalist who started this week. So it's been a busy first week, but wanted to get to meet all of you in person. He comes to us, he was an HR generalist for some Kroger locations, and before that, the talent and recruitment specialist, I believe, at FedEx. So we're very happy to have him on our team, and I'm trying to not overwhelm him, but excited he's here. Thanks.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you, Lorraine. And now I will invite our new Director of Community Partnerships and Programs, Beth Boatwright, to the podium to say a few words. Beth has been with us since the Tuesday after Memorial Day, and she's had a very eventful few weeks.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to meet you. This is, I think, 3rd week, 4th week. We're getting there. I'm onboarding and starting to understand the breadth and scope of what we do, and also what your stewardship has done for the libraries over these many years. So thank you all for your service. Maybe you've been around for a while. I was most recently at Florida State University, but I consider myself a Fort Wayne person. I'm a Hoosier. I was at Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, back when that's what they were, for 7 years. So this is my community. I had no idea the depth and breadth and extraordinary impact of what was happening at ACPL until I started working here a few weeks ago. Thank you for what you do. I'm really, really excited to start partnering with all of our partners, with all of you. As stewards of this organization, I am really looking forward to working with you. If you know of organizations or partners or people that I should be connecting with so that we can grow and strengthen the partnerships that we have, I'm learning a lot about what already exists, but also about where we might be able to go to make an even bigger difference in our community. I would love to meet each of you to hear about where you think we should be connecting. I look forward to working with you very much. Thanks.
Were you at the Bill Blas exhibit yesterday?
I was not.
Oh, okay. That's a
I
place to go.
heard it was amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
Welcome.
Okay. Should have asked, are there any questions of our new employees? Let's move to capital projects. Marty?
All right, everyone. We are still going forward, trying to come up with more details and specific steps that we're going to be taking. I've been working with Susan and Kim and Dave on those steps. The whole board has been to present to this board. I'm not ready to do that at this meeting. So we're going to be still working on that. I'm hoping next meeting, but right now, still kind of stay tuned, as we say, as we're moving forward. Other reports are we are in the community engagement, where we are trying to present what we're trying to do to make sure everybody, we think we've told everybody we're out there presenting it, but now we passed what we've done for the board here. So Susan especially has been out there in the community, and she's made a presentation to Greater Fort Wayne and a few other groups, and we are hoping to meet with other groups as well. So any board member, frankly, anybody listening to this broadcast, if you would like a presentation from the library regarding what we're proposing, we would love to share it with you. So please contact us at, Susan, your email.
librarydirector@acpl.info.
All right. That's all for my report for this meeting.
Thank you. Any questions of Marty? Okay, let's get to the review of our code of conduct.
I will turn it over to Pete Mallers.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we have discussed, a new law goes into effect in the state of Indiana on July 1st. And in order to comply with that law, it becomes necessary that we revise the code of conduct. You have that revised code, and it becomes necessary that you approve it today, being the last meeting before July 1. So in order for it to be effective by the effective date of the new law, it requires your approval. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them. If not, it will require a motion.
Let's put a motion on the table and a second, then we could discuss. Can I have a motion to accept the review of the code of conduct?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? You have the red line version, so you can see what changes the state legislature has made that we must comply with. All right, if not, all those in favor of the code of conduct as updated, please signify by aye.
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 Opposed by nay? Well, we have an updated code of conduct. Okay. Susan?
Thank you, Ben. I submitted a written executive director's report, a few highlights. June is a month where I wish we could clone staff and be multiple places at the same time, because it is just a very, very busy month, but an exciting month. We have been to all the fests and all the fairs. We had staff at German Fest, Arab Fest, the Fort Wayne Air Show, the Juneteenth Parade, lunch on the square, and we are doing that on top of our already very robust slate of summer learning programming. So a big thanks to all of our staff making this happen, and July looks just as busy. Also wanted to share that last week, Beth, Lorraine, and I were able to attend a luncheon held at the Merrill Center for the volunteers involved with the audio reading service. There were about 80 people in attendance, and it was a really lovely lunch, and Parkview sponsored the cost of the event, which was very generous of them. So we were able to celebrate and acknowledge the volunteers who make the audio reading service happen. Kim and I have very early flights tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. for me. We are leaving to attend the American Library Association convention in Washington, D.C. They have not been able to have an in-person conference for several years, so we are excited to get back to that and learn a lot and meet a lot of people. You mentioned the Bill Blas exhibition, and I believe yesterday, the 22nd, would have been his 100th birthday, correct?
Correct.
And it is kicking off 100 days of Bill Blas, and we are involved in those community events. I believe there's going to be a Bill Blas coloring book. I'm looking at Kurt for confirmation on that, that we'll be distributing. And also Kurt and his team are digitizing a number of items from the Bill Blas archive to include in our community album. And over the summer, we will be having some speakers about Bill Blas and his life and legacy. So we're very excited to be a part of that. Earlier today, as in about an hour ago, I recorded an interview with John Perlich from Mayor Henry's office for his radio show, Investing in the City of Fort Wayne, and that is a show that our own Welt produces, so look for that in a few weeks. And I included on your report a picture of our Library at Home outreach van. I had mentioned how we received ARPA pandemic relief funds through the state library to do an upgrade to our outreach van, and you can see the fruition of that. It is now equipped with shelves that can roll out and into the lobbies of the facilities, and also a new lift, and our Library at Home staff are very, very excited about it. And a few bonus items that did not make the written report. While you were here, I encourage you to pop into Storyscape, which is the early learning center on the first floor children's area. It was remodeled thanks to a very generous gift from our library foundation. We did a soft opening just a few days ago, and for a soft opening, it's pretty busy already. The families are coming back, and we are planning a larger scale, more grand event in the future where we can have a ribbon cutting, but we wanted to get this to the community as soon as we could because we knew there was a great demand for it, and it's been very, very well received. And finally, while you were here, I really encourage you to pop into the Roland Center. There is an incredibly impactful and powerful exhibition going on right now on the abolitionist movement in honor of Juneteenth. Just some really incredible things to see, including photographs of Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth, and a first edition of Uncle Tom's Cabin. And we received just some really incredible press and media coverage these past few days over the exhibition. And I have to give a special shout out to Kurt, because on Sunday, I had to text this poor man and say, Kurt, could you be at the library on Monday at 4:40 a.m. to let in a reporter from Wayne TV? And of course, Kurt's response is, absolutely, I'll be right there. And we were on 4 live hits between 5 and 7 a.m. through Wayne, talking about Juneteenth and how to celebrate and observe Juneteenth at the library and this abolitionist display that we had. That's incredible publicity for us, and just very grateful for it, and also grateful to Kurt for setting his alarm very, very early that morning.
It's only a half hour before I.
Show off. Well, thank you, Kurt. Thank you. Susan, any questions? Let's move to new business. Are there any items of new business that we should consider? Well, seeing, hearing none, we do have 2 individuals who signed up for public comment. Will Janelle Johnson please come to the microphone?
I'm here with Professor Schaefer from...
Please come up to the microphone.
Don't mind, yeah.
Yeah,
We do record it, so we need to make sure we
yeah,
hear that.
it's live.
I'm here with Professor Schaefer from Ball State, and he recently put, last week, an article in the Fort Wayne newspaper about banned books, and had several suggestions about how we can encourage reading. I am a retired teacher of 43 years of teaching 3rd grade, and so I kind of jumped on this bandwagon. And one of his, I'll just say this real quickly, one of his ideas, we're doing some incredible things at Electric Works. Wouldn't it be the absolute coolest of all cool things if we could set up a reading center? Retired teachers and community members who still want to give back could help. So I wrote up a little thing, because I don't really know how this works, but since he is here from Ball State and he has to leave to go to a meeting, do you want to say something about that?
I just want to say thank you first to, I am a huge fan and a big user of the library, and I know it's unusual for me to be on this side of the microphone because usually I'm sitting where you guys are and listening to people say things that are not very nice. And so it's, first I want you to know I don't have anything except praise for this group. You guys are, I grew up in Baltimore with the Enoch Pratt library system, and so this library system here, I love, and I love Fort Wayne and I love this library system. And I use it all the time and I think it's outstanding. And I can't imagine, I don't know how you do everything you do with not nearly enough money. And so please understand that when I wrote the editorial that I wrote, I love to write, and I'm a writing nerd as well as a reading nerd. And so usually my writing time is like 2 o'clock in the morning because I get up that early, and so.
You can call Kurt.
I noticed that. We might have to start communicating. So the fact that I didn't say anything about the great work that you're already doing is a complete brain mess. I should have said already the Allen County Public Library is doing so many things. And the outreaches that you mentioned just a few minutes ago, you're already everywhere through this community. My thought is coming through because I see what's happening to our school boards, and Gloria is here, and the things that have been said, the things where people are attacking, going after books and saying we should pull books out of the library, and all I'm thinking is, no, we should put more books in the library. And that's where I come. I don't believe in banning books. I don't think any book should be banned, and I think we get more books. And so that's where I come from. I read banned books. I love them. And in fact, one of the weird things I think is I wish somebody would ban my book because then it would sell more. One of those weird things, But I am for anything that gets kids reading. When I was a principal at Lincoln Elementary here in Fort Wayne, I accidentally started a boys book club, and I say that accidentally, I really did. Another principal had started one, he told me about it, and I said, I'll do the same thing. And I followed his example. And I had 104th and 5th grade boys who skipped recess to hang out with the bald guy and talk about books. Strangest thing, it was amazing, it was the best thing I ever did in 25 years of being a principal. And so, in fact, I just gave Gloria a copy of the book that I wrote about it. Another professor helped me, and we both wrote this book. But telling that story and other stories about that. But my passion is, and I'm not looking for a job, though if I come back in another life, I want to be a librarian because I geek out every time I walk into a library. I am for anything that gets books in the hands of kids. And so I'm not suggesting more work for you. That's not my job to do. I know you're looking at new projects and new ideas, and I have a million ideas. I'm not looking to be in charge of anything. That was not the purpose of that. My purpose in writing that was to say, I want Fort Wayne to be a place that when people think about us, they don't think about the people that come to board meetings and say, get that book out of our library. And so that superintendents have to hide books, or that the librarians stick them somewhere that nobody knows where they are. It's that we're getting more and more books. I love what Dr. Daniel is doing here in Fort Wayne community and taking Title I money and putting classroom books. As an elementary principal, I think that is the coolest thing ever, because new teachers coming out of college don't have books to put in their classrooms. And so starting them out like that, I think that's cool. So anyway, that's it. That's all I'm just saying is I love what you're doing. If there's anything I can do to help, I would love to do anything I can do. And I'm already working a job and a part-time job on top of that. But I love literacy and I love books and I love getting kids to read. And so I wasn't trying to spend your money, and I don't have any money. I'm a poor college professor, that works. But I love what you're doing already, and your library branches are incredible. And I love walking in here and the things that you're doing. And my thoughts about the electric works would be, I still think about, and this is just where my dream went. And Jan and I were talking about this. I've walked into classrooms where teachers have taken these things where they build like a pirate ship, and they put pillows and everything in there for kids to sit on and read, and places where.
Yeah, we hear you better now, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, that's weird.
You may want to repeat what you just
said.
And like a tree that has places where they climb up in and read, and and, you know, the tree house and all those, and that's all I was imagining, a place where kids can just go and sit and read. And so that's all I was thinking. I'm not thinking anything like big and glorious and fancy or what, you know, I've worked with kids and I've gotten them to read and read for fun. And, you know, we have gotten so obsessed with testing in our country. And we spend so much time on getting kids to study for tests. And we teach them, read this sentence and stop and tell me what you read. And they've lost the fun. And I want to see them come back to the fun. Because, you know, all those years, and Gloria knows this because we've both been in this the same amount of time, all those years we pushed and pushed and pushed for kids to prepare for the tests. And you know what the results tell us? We're not doing any better now than we did before we started all those tests. We're really not. But we've lost the fun of reading. And that's what you guys provide, the fun. And that's what makes lifelong readers. So, all right, sorry, I got all on my soapbox.
Thank you.
I love it, and I love what you do. And someday, when I come back into, you know, if I get a chance to come back at this life again, I'm going to start from the beginning as a librarian, because I think that's like the coolest. I could spend my whole life geeking out on books, but anyway, thank you.
Well, you mentioned Electric Works. We do have an observation and a comment.
Yes, well, first of all, our HR director is here, and if you really want to be a librarian, we could arrange that. So we do have some vacancies right now. But I read your editorial this Sunday and was really interested in what you had to say, and we have had conversations with Electric Works about a presence there. So you are right on target, and we really hope to make that happen. The developer at Electric Works is a huge library supporter and fan of books, and is eager to work with us, so stay tuned.
Oh, boy, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Schaefer?
That's it.
That was me.
That was
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Is it okay if I read this? I kind of like let him, so you could understand what this was coming from? Is that right?
I'm sorry, couldn't hear you.
Article?
No, I wrote a proposal because after I read his piece in the newspaper, right away, it occurred to me that the Allen County Public Library is probably the perfect place that could address that, and it sounds like you have some things kind of maybe going on. Is it all right if I read this?
If you could,
Yes?
you can read it.
Okay. As a retired teacher of 43 years, I'd like to propose the idea of a multi-purpose book room and reading center on the campus of Electric Works. Our Journal Gazette published 2 articles in the last week on banning books. Book banning is all about having opinions. People tend to hold on to their opinions as if they were the truth, but really, we only have our own prior experiences, the people we've met, and the places we've been in our unique lifetimes to base our opinions on. Books provide an endless opportunity to see into the lives that you will never live, and still make you feel like you're sharing the experiences with those characters. From reading nonfiction, you can see what worked or didn't work in the past, and you can see how different people perceive the world and what their motives might be in a well-developed character from a fictional book. One of the biggest awards in teaching for me was watching the faces of children as they read great books. The world needs a lot more empathy, and books provide an opportunity for us to be able to find it, regardless of our age, our race, or our socioeconomic status. To many people right now, being different seems to be unacceptable. Controversy doesn't need to be offensive. The only way we can remedy that is to afford people the opportunity to learn from and connect with each other, even if it's not in person. Books can do exactly that. The focus of Electric Works seems to be presenting opportunities to meet and talk and be involved with ideas that are much different from our own. It has a diversity of tenants already and is bound to impact the community and promote equity. This huge central hub of activity is a perfect location for kids and adults to gather all kinds of knowledge from books and be a perfect starting point for important conversations that might address our willingness to read and learn. If the Allen County Public Library could provide books and reading spots and spaces for discussions, I think our city could provide speakers, artists, and citizens that would be willing to learn and collaborate.
Thank you very much for those
Thank you.
comments. And stay tuned, you'll see things happening. Thank you. Is there anyone else that hasn't signed up for public comment? I don't see any.
Or anything online?
Was anybody online? No?
No.
Well, before we adjourn, Gloria's name was mentioned a couple times. And those of us that know and love Gloria want to wish her well as she retires from the Northwest Allen County School System as Assistant Superintendent. It's been quite a ride, but you'll have an opportunity to continue to ride with us. And we look forward to that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our business. Can I have a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.